Hello, dear students. This is the seventh practical work of the discipline Hygienic Certification of Workplaces. For students of the educational program 6B 11201, Life Safety and Environmental Protection. The topic of this work is called Assessment of Working Conditions by Microclimate Indicators. This presentation prepared by Assistant of Mine Aerology and Labor Protection Department, Исаков Бекжан Ербулатович. The purpose of the work is to familiarize students with the main characteristics of the microclimate, thermoregulation, and the permissible level of microclimate in the workplaces. The microclimate in the working area of industrial premises has a great impact on the body, well-being, and performance of a person. The value of microclimate parameters is subject to wide fluctuations and depend on the season of the year, severity of operation, process conditions, space, and etc. Lessons plan. First, introduction to the theoretical part of the material. Then, procedure for performing the work. And the last one, task for practical work. Let's start with the main idea. Microclimates. Microclimates or meteorological conditions in production conditions are determined by parameters such as air temperature, relative humidity, air velocity, atmospheric pressure, etc. The microclimate of industrial premises is understood as the meteorological conditions of the internal environment of these premises, which are determined by these parameters. Thermoregulation. A set of psychological processes caused by the activity of the central nervous system and aimed at maintaining the temperature of the brain and internal organs within narrow defined boundaries, despite significant fluctuations in the environment and its own heat production, is called thermoregulation. The thermoregulation system includes a thermal center located in the hypothalamus, heat-sensitive nerve cells in various parts of the central nervous system, from the cerebral cortex to the spinal cord. Thermoreceptors of internal organs and mucous membranes and skin with corresponding nerve pathways, efferent nerve pathways and effector organs in the form of skin vessels, endocrine and sweat glands, skeletal muscles. For the normal course of physiological processes in the human body, it is necessary to ensure a balance between the heat produced by humans and coming from outside, and the heat withdrawn to the environment. If this condition is met, the environment is described as comfortable. When the body overheats, when the energy input significantly exceeds its consumption, the thermoregulation mechanism contributes to an increase in heat transfer. It is carried out through the circulatory system and by sweating. The human response to the thermal effects of the environments depends on 7 parameters: air temperature, relative humidity, average radiation temperature of the medium, speeds of air movement, the insulating capacity of the clothing, physical activity, and the last one is time. In the human body, as a result of biochemical processes, there is a continuous release of heat. Simultaneously with heat generation in the body, there is a continuous heat transfer to the environment in an amount that ensures the preservation of body temperature at a constant level, an average of plus 36.5 degrees. The return of heat by the human body to the environment occurs as follows. The first one, radiation of heat from the surface of the body, or radiation, 45%. The removal of heat by the air surrounding the surface of the body, so-called convection, 30%. Evaporation of moisture from the surface of the body, lungs and respiratory tract, 25%. The ratio between different types of heat output may vary depending on the state of meteorological conditions. For example, if the air temperature is more than plus 35 degrees, heat radiation almost completely stops. When there is insufficient air movement, decreases heat transfer by convection, and evaporation from the body surface depends on the relative humidity. A certain combination of microclimate parameters is necessary for a person's normal well-being. The limits of the combined influence of various combination of temperature, humidity, and air velocity that are favorable and don't cause disturbing thermal sensations or comfort zone are shown here in the table, which is called optimal norms of microclimate parameters of industrial premises. Let's talk about measurements. Temperature measurement. The air temperature in working rooms depends on the amount of heat entering the room from heat sources by convection, the amount of heat leaving this room through fences and various open openings, dilution of its supply external air. The air temperature should be measured at various points in the work area. Permanent jobs, at several points in the zone of the most frequent stay of workers. In the areas of maintenance and control of equipment operation. At various distances from the heat source and from the openings through which the outside air enters. Measurement at work sites and in the work area is carried out at a height of 1.3 to 1.5 meters from the work site. And if the temperature changes significantly at the height of the additional feet, which is 0.2 to 0.3 meters. The most common thermometers for measuring room temperature are mercury and alcohol. When measuring temperature above 0 degree, use mercury. And for temperature below the 0 degree alcohol, mercury freezes at temperature more than 39 degree. And alcohol doesn't freeze even at temperature less than 100 degree. In this picture, you can see different types of thermometers, such as thermometers with a stick, thermometer with an enclosed scale, technical thermometer, and corner thermometer. Every one of you have thermometers at your houses, so you know this kind of device and you know how to use it. Thermograph. Thermographs are used to record the temperature of the surrounding air over time. The receiving part of thermographs is a curved bimetallic plate connected by a lever and an arrow with a pen. The temperature is recorded on a tape that encircles the drum, which is driven by a clock mechanism. In this picture, you can see equipment thermograph M16A. The second parameter is a humidity. Humidity fluctuates less sharply and often, so it is measured only in the work area at the main workplaces. In areas where water is used in the process, air humidity is studied in more detail. There are several designs of psychrometers: psychrometer pair thermometers, aspiration, electric, etc. The most convenient is the Asman aspiration psychrometer, which you can see in the picture. Asman's aspiration psychrometer consists of thermometer reservoir, wet and dry thermometers, key, and aspirator. The next equipment is a hygrometer. Hygrometers are used for direct determination of relative humidity. Hair hygrometers are based on the ability of a human hair, due to its hygroscopicity, to change linear dimensions. A hair hygrometer is a frame on which a specially processed fat-free human hair is stretched vertically, reinforced with one end on a metal frame and the other on the axis of the arrow. As a result of changing the linear size of the hair, the arrow is deflected, showing the relative humidity. The next parameter of the microclimate is air velocity. Measurement of air velocity is performed by anemometers, such as winged ASO3, designed to measure the airflow rate up to 6 meters per second, and cup anemometers, MS13, designed to measure the flow rate up to 20 meters per second. Let's talk about wing anemometer. The wing anemometer should be positioned with the impeller strictly towards the airflow. The rotation of the impeller is transmitted by means of a worm to the counting mechanism. The wing anemometer consists of a vane and a counting mechanism, which has 3 arrows. A large arrow counts units and tenths, 2 small ones, and 3 and 5 count hundreds and thousands of units. Cup anemometer is structurally different from a winged one in that the winged receiver of the device is 4 hemispherical cups. When measuring, this anemometer should be positioned vertically. The order for measuring airspeed is as follows. First, remove the initial reports for all scales, thousands, hundreds, tens, and units. After that, the anemometer is placed in the airstream, the counting mechanism is turned on, and the time is recorded. Anemometers operate on the principle of an air tachometer counting the speed of the wind receiver at a speed proportional to the speed of the airflow. How to measure air velocity? Firstly, turn on the device, and after the specified time from 30 to 100 seconds, the counting mechanism is turned off and the final report is taken for school. Then determine the number of divisions per second. The resulting number, m, is proportional to the flow rate. Therefore, the value of this m determines the speed of air movement using the graph attached to each device. To get reliable data, you have to make from 3 to 5 measurements, to be clear. Also nowadays you can use multifunctional environmental parameter meter, because with this device you can measure temperature, relative humidity, airflow velocity, pressure, and carbon dioxide concentrations in one device. How the work is performed? Firstly, measure the air temperature in the work area with the thermometers. Secondly, measure the humidity of the air. Determine the absolute and relative humidity. And measure the speed of air movement by using air velocity measurement devices as anemometers. Tasks for practical classes. I already told you what to do. You have to take initial and final report and find out the M. And of course, you have to do from 3 to 5 measurements to be sure to have a clear report. You can use this recommended literature to answer the control questions. The control questions is excuse me. What device measures the air temperature in the work area? What is the difference between absolute humidity and relative humidity? What device measures the speed of air movement in the work area? How is the air velocity determined by the anemometer readings? And to measure what speed, it is recommended the cup anemometer. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. Control questions you can find on the small book which I will send you. Goodbye.